Hello, folks. I'm back with a firearms review. I know it's been a while since I've done one, but I wanted to share this with you because this is an early Christmas gift to myself. Earlier in the year, I had to get rid of two of my Kimber 1911 firearms because they were not working out like I wanted it to. And right now, I only have one Kimber that's working flawless. It's amazing that it's working flawless, and that's my Kimber Raptor 2. But I wanted to get another 1911. I wanted to get a commander size, but I didn't see a commander size. It seemed like when I was at this particular shops that I most frequent, that everybody was trading in their Kimbers, so everybody was pretty much buying up other 1911s. So I wanted to show you this 1911 I purchased. This is the Sig Sauer Scorpion. And I'm going to try to adjust the camera because I got a different camera this time. Yes, this is the Sig Sauer Scorpion. Let me move some things out of the way here. It comes with actually 3 magazines. And let me try to move back this, and I'm going to safety check it so everybody will know. And here we go. It is safety checked. All right, and I'm going to get rid of this stuff and try to focus in this camera a little better. Okay, now that that's done, this is my Sig Sauer Scorpion. Like I said, I wanted to make sure everybody see that it is safety checked, and we're going to just get right to it. This is the Sig Sauer Scorpion. A lot of people get this confused with the Sig Sauer Emperor Scorpion, and I'm just going to move this is the Emperor Scorpion. The Emperor Scorpion was the firearm that took the place of the Scorpion that I have right now. Basically, the difference between this is the trigger and also the color. If you look right here, it's very noticeable if you see the trigger. The trigger here is kind of like a flat face with a minimal curve to it. And also, you will notice that the difference is this is an FDE color type, and the Emperor Scorpion tends to be more of a bronze color. This Emperor Scorpion, I believe, started production sometime in 2011, and then they ended production. I believe they ended production for this sometime around 2017. And this, I guess, is a leftover or whatnot. And as you see right here, there's the marking for March 16th of 2017, because you don't after that, you don't see any more of these. You'll just see the Emperor Scorpions out there. The Scorpion comes in a FDE color that, as you see right here, is a FDE color, and it's with a PVD coating. So that's why you have that kind of like desert tan look to it, or FDE color look, however you want to say it. It is stainless steel, and like I said, the PVD coating. It has a 5-inch barrel, and I believe that is, yeah, it's 5-inch match grade barrel with a height of 5.5 inches, and overall length is 8.7 inches. It is kind of a heavy pistol, but I don't mind it at all. It's 41.6 ounces. I just read that, and I believe my Springfield loaded is around 41, 42 ounces itself. First thing you're going to notice right off the bat when you look at this is the trigger. The trigger is like a really kind of like a flat-faced trigger here. I'm going to try to rack this. And if you notice the trigger and you just pull here, it's a lot of people look at this trigger and they think it's ugly, but it's really good when you're firing this at the range. And when you release it, short reset. That was it. Let me do that again. Short reset. And there you go. That's how short the reset is on this. Some of the features I liked about this is a skeletonized trigger. I wanted to show you this regarding the barrel. The barrel is match grade, but I find it interesting, and I don't know if you could see that very well. Let me get a pen so you can see this really good. Is Sig Sauer stamps its name right here, which I find very interesting. I wish some manufacturers would do that so they can identify the barrels. This is actually not a true 1911, and most of your 1911 purists are going to have a fit, and they will tell you that it's not a pure 1911. Just looking at the external extractor right here. For those of you who don't know, a pure 1911 has a internal extractor. And there are pros and cons with internal and external. Your more hardcore 1911 person will only like a Series 70 1911 with an internal extractor. This is a Series 80 because it has the external extractor. That's not the reason why it's a Series 80. But also, if you look in here, this is your Series 80 firing pin block right here. So that's how you can tell the difference here, because you have your safety firing pin block plunger right there. What I also like about this is the front checkering. The front checkering is really, really nice, really aggressive, but not aggressive enough to tear your hands up. And also, if you look at these grips here, these grips are Hogue G10 Piranha grips. I like the color and how it works with the FDE color here. It matches really well, and you can also see that in the back strap. The back strap has that Piranha grip here in the mainspring. And another thing to note is it has its magwell here. It's a really nice magwell. So normally when I buy a 1911, if it doesn't have a magwell, I will go and order the slip-on magwells from Wilson Combat. And with this firearm, I don't even have to do that. And one of the great things is I'd rather have a firearm that has a front checkering on it, and this is really nice. So you really get a good purchase. Another thing that you'll notice about this firearm is the black controls. I like the black controls, how it goes back and forth. Even with the extractor, the extractor is black. You have your controls here that are black, and your magazine catch button there. And if you look at it right here, even with this slide release, I meant to say there was a slide release button in the back, but the slide release right here is black, and it's a little bit longer. Like a lot of times with extended slide releases, I like to order, like again from Wilson Combat, and I would like to order external slide release, extended slide release, because my thumb I usually have to cant the firearm over so I can hit the slide release. But this gives you a little, it's not overly long as you see, but it just gives you a little more than your standard slide release. And again, like I said, with the black controls, it has Sig Light night sights. These are Novak style. And look at, and you could, like I said, I like the way the black contrast is, especially with the extractor area here and there. But the Novak style night sights, they're really nice. A lot of people might not like these because they would like some type of ledge in this area so they can rack off of a belt or something just in case their shooting hand is injured or so forth. You do see serrations here in the back, or they give you a good grip here, and minimal serrations here, right here. It's just pretty much minimal. Some people who press check, I don't really press check up here, but it's aggressive enough. It's just as aggressive as the back because they match. One thing also different about the Sig Sauer line of 1911s is if you look at it, it has like a squared off type of look, and it has you'll notice that there's a ridge right here, squaring off right here. I don't know if that's to reduce weight, but that's kind of like a staple of what Sig Sauer did with their 1911s. They have like a few of them that don't have this, but for the majority of them, they do have this ridge right here. And then if you look, it's kind of like squared off right here. If you could see that, well, it's really squared off right here, and it's not bad. I think it would be. I think by now you're able to find holsters to accommodate this firearm. I know when a lot of 1911s from Sig came out, a lot of people had issues with not having holsters ready available for this because it's like I said, its lines are not traditional to a standard 1911. You have a 1913 Picatinny rail right here for your lights, lasers, and all those type of things. And I'm just, not muzzling myself, but I'm letting you know, look at some of the accents right here with the black here. Another thing is I normally like 1911s with full length guide rods. This is a what we would say kind of like your standard GI guide rod, but it's a little different, and I'll show you what I mean about that. I have these on my computer. I didn't feel like breaking this down again and looking like an idiot on here, but I'm going to try to find that picture. So you guys can see it. And of course, this computer's not acting right. Hang on, I'll pause the camera. Okay, I'm back, and sorry about the technical difficulties. It figures it would happen with me. Okay, I'm going to move this up here, and I just got finished cleaning it, but I didn't want to go through all that, taking it out live. This is the standard GI guide rod, but if you notice, it's a two-piece guide rod. So it's maybe about this big, maybe about an inch. And it's a two-piece guide rod. I don't know why they do it a two-piece like that. I figured that most of the plungers guide rod plungers like this would pretty much, it would just be all one piece. It would be a one-piece guide rod. So I didn't mean to say plunger, but pretty much like all one piece. So I don't know what that's about, but yeah, that's something that's really took me by surprise that it was a two-piece guide rod. Okay, and while we're talking about the guide rod, I'm showing you a picture of the spring. The spring here is a flat wired spring. It's not like your coil springs that you're used to. But it's pretty interesting that it's a flat wire spring. And I think with a flat wire spring like this, it will help with coil binding. And this is the reason why most people replace their guide rods with a full length guide rod, because a lot of times if you're a competition shooter and you're using different loads, like maybe you're using 230 grain ammunition, sometimes they want to lessen that so they can have a better way of shooting with a lighter load, so it would be less recoil. So the problem with that is uh, you put in the heavy guide rod, and what will happen is you'll have a malfunction. So a lot of times they would use a full length guide rod, especially with those lighter loads, and that way it will stop it from coil binding. With this flat guide rod, I don't think you're going to have too much of a problem with that because it won't coil as bad as a standard guide rod would. Excuse me, a standard spring would. Another thing I found interesting about this firearm is also the barrel. The barrel, I've never seen this on a full-length firearm. Maybe I've seen this on maybe a, like a 3-inch barrel on a 1911, where it's kind of like a what they call a bull nose or a cone type barrel. Right here, I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like there is a little hump right there, and what that does is, I believe it's extended a little bit to make sure that the slide, the bushing, and everything locks into place. And I'm going to see if I can show that to you on the firearm itself. If you notice right there, it's kind of got that little hump right there, and I think that design is made to ensure of its positive lockup, and I think that's what it's for. And it's pretty interesting. I've never seen that on a full-length firearm before, but I've seen it on, let's say, maybe like a 3-inch officer models or things like that. But it struck me a little interesting. And again, talking about how that barrel is, where you have that little lump in there, it seems like there's an edge right inside the barrel bushing where it enables it to lock properly. And it's kind of got, I don't know how well you can see it, but you kind of got like a groove within here. And it feels a little different when I was cleaning this. I put my finger in there and you could feel like there is a lockup. So I took the barrel while it was out and kind of like ran it through, and it seemed like it linked up together. Now, you're probably want to know, how does this firearm shoot? This firearm shoots like a dream. It's extremely accurate. And what's interesting is, I will show you the targets momentarily. I shot this over a course of 2 days, putting in roughly about, it's not much by anybody else's standards, but roughly around like 500 rounds just to see what would happen. And one of your biggest fears of a 1911 is it going to jam? Well, I'm going to tell you folks, this was flawless. It did not jam, and it did not have any type of malfunctions. And I believe part of that has to do with this external extractor. Like I said, they give you 3 magazines with this, and I'm not sure who the manufacturer is of this magazine. These, I believe they're Checkmate, if I'm not mistaken. But I like the way that goes in. The magazine goes in. You have a base plate here. But I didn't stop there with that. I wanted to test out some other magazines to see if there were any other issues that would happen. So I got these 10-round magazines that I've been getting around to testing. Well, of course, you recognize it already. These are the Wilson Combat 10-round magazines, and I put here 2 of these, but I didn't stop there. Wilson Combat had a backup. I had to put, it was on back order, so I ended up getting these first. These are 10-round magazines, but I guess you would be surprised that these are Kimber magazines. These are 10-round Kimber magazines, And believe it or not, folks, they work flawless. It was just like that. I just decided to buy these first. And by the time I got these first, and then the back order was over, then the Wilson Combats came later on. And most of the time you could tell the difference between a Wilson Combat because they got their logo and everything. And the only place where the logo is at the bottom. And this has that elephant look type of thing here. So I'm happy to say that with the SIG, with all the different magazines that I used inside this firearm, there were no malfunctions. Okay, and like I said, I shot this firearm over a period of 2 days. And just to get a feel for seeing how it was going to do. And because I was shooting this over a period of 2 days, I had another firearm that I was testing out as well that you'll see in another review. These shots here, I had other targets, but these shots here were somewhere around 10 to 15 yards. I was trying to rapid fire. As you see, I went really way off the target here and way off here. And I had to learn how to really, I've shot 1911s before, but this kind of felt a little bit different. I'll show you what I mean. It's basically because I wanted to have better finger placement on the trigger. Now these right here, these were definitely around 7 yards. These were the better shots. And of course, this was a little bit all over the place. So like I said, it was me feeling around, trying to shoot fast at 10 yards. And I needed to work on my control because I really hate when I'm off the target. I want to at least be in the ring here. But I'm happy with this, roughly about at 7 yards. And let me show you the other target. The other target is the second day. And this shows you how I'm getting used to the firearm at this point. This was roughly, this is 7 yards right here. And now, as you see with the target, I got a little bit of more control, a little more trigger control. And then I decided to be bold and push this out around 10 to 15 yards. I think my average was shooting somewhere around 12 yards. And this is the result here. I was trying to aim. For some reason, I was pulling toward the left, and that's where you got these ear shots. And then I gradually tried to get a decent sight picture. And the way this firearm sights in, and the way it sights in, some firearms take a 6 o'clock hole. Some firearms you will have to do is point of aim. Basically, this is point of aim. You have to shoot this at point of aim because I tried, as you see right here, the shot was high because I was aiming high. So because I was figuring that maybe I had to aim a little higher, I was wrong. So I had to move the firearm down to a point of aim area. All in all, I really love this 1911. I haven't shot a 1911 in a while. I had, and I wasn't happy with my other two 1911s because I cannot have malfunctions. It just makes for a bad day at a range. And like I said, with this as being flawless, and like I said, over a period of 2 days, this was not cleaned or anything of that nature. Unfortunately, this is I believe is a discontinued model, but if you search out there or go to many firearm stores, you might be able to find this one or any other firearm, because one thing that SIG does, they will run things on a limited run or different colors or whatever the case may be. And you might just luck up and go to your firearms shop and you'll find it doesn't have to be SIG. It can be anybody. It may be old. Like I said, this, you saw in the box, it said 2017. This was brand new in the box. It's not like it was a used firearm. This was brand new. So, like I said, you can just shop around and take a look, and you'll find something that you'll like. It doesn't have to be the newest and greatest thing, but you will find what you like. And I remember when these were out, and I figured they wouldn't make these anymore. And they figured they went to, well, I knew they went over to the Emperor Scorpion version, but that had a little bit of a gaudy look to me, but I like this myself. It's a little different from a traditional 1911. I know the 1911 purists might not like this type of firearm, but it's doing right for me. I would recommend this as a home defense firearm because you have your Picatinny rail, you put lights on it, or a good range gun if you want to do that. But this is all I have, folks, on that, and thanks for taking your time to watch this video, and happy shooting, #2A.